What if your legacy isn't perfect? What if there's distance and regret and brokenness? Does your story still matter? Every family has wounds. Legacy is not for the perfect, it's for the courageous. Broken branches can grow again. Let's get into it. %70 of the time, it's not because of money. It's because of a lack of communication, right? Isn't it interesting that the deeper the disruption, the deeper the renewal tends to be?
Yeah.
It's almost like a correlation. The legacy is really about the family, what Jaffe calls their identity, which, maybe we can also say whatever they feel like their purpose and what their foundation is, why they do what they do. Like for our family, our foundation identity comes from. Well, welcome back to the Legacy Life Podcast. This is episode number 40. Thank you, everyone who's been with us up to this point. And if you haven't subscribed yet, if you could please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Every Monday, you'll get a new episode, and we're glad to have you along. So, hello and welcome back.
Yes.
It's it feels like, I don't know, like 2 months since I've seen you,
Yeah.
even though it's not been that long.
Not been that long, even close. No.
No, but it feels that way.
Yep.
Yep. So I hope you're doing well. I'm your dad. Just reintroduce ourselves here.
Yeah.
But no, it's good to be doing this again today. So we're at episode 40. I can't believe it.
Yep. It went by fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're really diving into, I think, a topic that is just really fascinating. And I don't know. It's gotten to, we've talked about different aspects and topics within this that I had given some thought to in my life, but I'm now even giving deeper thought to on behalf for the clients we serve and for our own lives. And I'm really excited about what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been talking about the generational planning, families who've been doing this for a long amount of time, some of the families who have had businesses that have been in existence for a really long time.
Yeah.
Like 1,300 years and
Mm-hmm.
so forth. But today, when you talk about this topic, like how does a family make it for 400 years and continue to pass on wealth and values and like that without facing some turmoil?
Right.
Like a lot of families that I know, including our own, we all face hardship and woundedness and conversations that don't go well. And so what does a family do when legacy seems to go wrong? You're 4 generations in and suddenly there's something happens.
Right. Because no family is really perfect.
Right. Exactly. And I think sometimes too, no family's perfect, which is true. I think sometimes they might feel like it's too late if they're already in a situation where they're like hearing about a topic like this and seeing what opportunities do exist, but they're like, but maybe we're too late because there's estrangement or there's there's disconnect between children and parents and so forth.
Right.
Jaffe, who we've been quoting a lot, who does a lot of research on these families, says that like 70% of the families who do plan for legacy like this, that if there is plans that do fail, that 70% of the time it's not because of money. It's because of a lack of communication.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, first at the outset here, all families experience disruption of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one, right? But these families that were able to continue to endure all come across these events where there's disconnect and there's hardship or hard conversations. But he said it's how they recovered that made the difference to continue to build that resilience in them that continue to last and continue to go on and on. We just celebrated Thanksgiving, and I remember it was like a day or so before there was an article that came out. I forget who put it out. It could have been Apple or one of the publications out there.
Yeah.
And the article was called "Why Children Go No Contact with Parents."
Interesting.
Like during the holidays.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And, it's kind of like a national publication is probably not going to write an article about that unless there was like some mass appeal to the messaging of it, right?
Right.
Like if it was only
It's
10
probably
families,
yeah.
right?
So there must be a decent amount of people that
Are feeling
are
that.
feeling that or experiencing it. And I mean, even people on the other end, people that are like ghosting their families during the holidays, they're probably going to read that too and be like, "Oh, why am I doing that?" Maybe,
Exactly,
Yeah.
right. Because it's going to resonate somewhere because in our culture right now, I think there is a lot of this. Now, my encouragement side of me would say when things like that happen, it's usually a time where there's opportunity for the tide to turn the other way. In the midst of the brokenness, people can make choices to say, you know what, I don't like being here and want to, do something different.
Right.
But it just shows that this is something that is people are dealing with. So I'm going to share here too. I found these stories. A century-old family that was torn apart by conflict.
Okay.
And what did they do about it? The Genovese family, they're from Italy. And they, of course, Jaffe, he does all the research on these things. And they had run a successful agriculture business for, I think it was nearly 5 generations.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like almost 200 years. Right?
Yeah.
So by the late 1970s, so that tells you when they began. We're talking about like the 1770s, right? Isn't that amazing?
That's incredible.
Yeah. 2 branches of the family had completely stopped talking. So there's that communication thing, right? They had there was some sort of a feud over succession, who's supposed to get what, and
Yep.
okay, and there were some assumptions in there about who Dad loved more. You're his favorite, no, right? And so what that did, because when people don't talk about it, it built underneath that silent bitterness, resentment, those kind of things began to build, right? And so it reached the point where all conversations then had to go through attorneys, right? Not with each other. And at that point, everyone expected that with this being the case, that the family enterprise was going to collapse, basically.
Yeah, then a big game of legal telephone.
Exactly. And so this was happening. Everyone saw this as like the collapse is coming. It's inevitable. Until one family member decided to do something. They decided to ask a question. So they opened their mouth, not through attorneys, but to other family members. They asked, I think what they did is they wrote a letter and sent it to both branches of the family so everyone could read the letter. Okay. And the question was, what do you want our children and grandchildren to remember us for?
Yeah.
That was the question. And that question was what broke open the door.
Yeah.
And so what happened next after that is people started talking. Shocker.
Right.
Right? And they held their first family meeting in 20 years. So it means they hadn't been meeting since the 50s.
Wow. Okay.
Right? And in that family meeting, the silence was broken and people just started sharing honestly about how they were feeling.
Yeah.
They started sharing misunderstandings, fears, the regrets, right? And they said, the healthiness of that conversation said, okay, we're going to create some new rituals for our family for reconnection to make sure that we stay connected because obviously we still love each other and, we're starting to clear the air. There's some reconciliation began to happen. And what they did is they redid a family charter at that moment and it was completely changed. Now the language in it centered on forgiveness.
Right.
It's centered on unity and transparency.
Yeah.
It made all the difference. And once that reconciliation was beginning, it not only healed and repaired the family, but it saved the entire enterprise and the business, which I guess would make sense.
That would make sense.
Right? Because it takes people to run it.
It does, yeah.
So a family there that had a deep rupture led to deep renewal. And so it's almost, isn't it interesting that the deeper the disruption, the deeper the renewal tends to be?
Yeah.
It's almost like a correlation. It's not like just kind of half renewal. It's almost like the renewal and the power of it meets the depth of the opposite.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
I think it's amazing.
Maybe even comes out on top.
Right.
And is a little bit more so.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a couple other stories here too. We won't go into them in this podcast. Maybe we'll save them for other ones. But you know, when you go through the store, the Kikkoman soy sauce.
Cumin?
Yeah. Kikkoman.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's a brand.
Mm-hmm.
I see it at Kroger all the time.
Yeah.
This is a 400-year family business, by the way.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Soy sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome, right? They have a story too of reconciliation.
Interesting.
So even soy sauce companies.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now every time you go in and get soy sauce or you use it in your home, now you know.
Hey, forgiveness is possible. These people did it.
Exactly.
Sprinkle it on your food.
Let's put a little forgiveness on our rice.
On my Kung Pao chicken.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. So, but there's, as we talk about this, there's going to be people watching, and they might be right in the place where that family was before the family meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I was thinking about this. There's some fears that people will face around the prospect of, can anything be different? Can we really hope for reconciliation, forgiveness? Because hope can be a scary thing, especially if you've been disappointed, right?
Yeah.
So, fear number one might come out and say, well, my kids just really aren't interested.
Yeah.
And that may be the case. And I would say today that that's okay.
Yeah.
If that's where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
Just take a breath and be able to give yourself permission to say, that's okay. That's where your kids are right now.
Yeah.
Because legacy, after all, is not necessarily, maybe you're running it, and it's not necessarily your business itself. It's the values anyway. And, if you're like, they're not interested in running my family business, I don't know if they really care about taking over and running. That's okay, because a lot of legacy families rarely run the same businesses long term. Some do, and we have examples, but not all of them do.
Yeah.
And the legacy is really about the family, what Jaffe calls their identity, which, maybe we can also say whatever they feel like their purpose and what their foundation is, why they do what they do. Like for our family, our foundation identity comes from Jesus and who he is. And that's where we make our decisions from. But that's really what defines, what's your family's purpose? Why are they here?
Yeah.
The other fear people have, well, we haven't talked in 20 years. From the 1950s to the 1970s, this family hadn't talked. So I can understand if that's the case, it might feel like really hard to say, what, we're really going to start making a change now? It's been so long.
Right.
You'd
be surprised
everyone's moved on, right?
How many of those assumptions that you make towards those people over 20 years just aren't even true.
Right.
And then once you talk to them about it, it's like, oh, wow, like that wasn't even the case. That wasn't the reality of what actually happened.
Right. And then people have to deal with the fact, like, I could have done this 19 years sooner. You know? Right.
Yep.
But yeah, right. A lot of the assumptions that we make during that length of time, whatever it is, really probably have a lot of untruth. Or maybe there was some truth early on, but then as you repeat it, it changes and it becomes something that isn't, over time. And so, how do you address that? One small thing people can do, write a letter, pick up the phone, post on social media, send them an email, just something just to break the ice and just open the door and just be real honest and open and be the first one, as we all say, go low.
Yep.
Right?
Do it in humility, because you can make that contact point, but still be like accusatory.
Right.
And like,
don't come out guns blazing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Holster those and come out the other way.
If you really want reconciliation, that's how you do it.
Yeah. What about for those who say it's too late?
It's not. Unless sometimes it is. Sometimes it is too late. Sometimes you waited too long and that person has passed away or since completely cut off all communication. You have no way to actually get in touch with them. Maybe you could do some research, or maybe they're not in a place where they can actually accept anything that you say, Yeah. And so, like maybe they're not in a place where they can like get to you or whatever, you know? So sometimes it is too late.
Yeah. And so if it is because like someone passed away, it doesn't mean that you can't pick up the pieces and say, well, I'm going to do something different going forward
Right.
for my family.
Mm-hmm.
And families can turn the corner. Jaffe talks about when he sees that a lot of times families turn the corner when the elders of the family, the eldest, turn to what he calls, it's a term he uses called generativity.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if he coined the phrase or if it's a real word. I'm sure I could look it up.
Yeah.
But it's when people focus on generational things, legacy type things. And so when the elders turn the corner and actually focus that way, it
Gotcha.
tends to help the family because the focus then becomes
Okay.
right off of themselves and
Yeah.
onto the other generation. And so the other fear we can talk about too, people who feel like they live in regret and maybe they've made too many mistakes.
Right.
Okay, where they're harsh on themselves. Not pointing fingers at anyone else, but this way. And I know we know in our own lives, in our own community that we have, and I know the research shows that vulnerability and just being honest about how you feel about it is the open door. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I specifically,
and that's how the younger generation learns.
right. And specifically in our example, like when it comes to Christianity, like any Christians who are looking at this, if I'm starting to have any of these fears, whatever it is, right? Fear, it's all just pride. It's all me believing an opinion or making a reality for myself that didn't come from Jesus.
Right.
And so at the end of the day, I'm not even asking him what he has to say about it.
Right.
And I can tell you it's not any of that.
Yep.
You know?
Exactly. The source of your information is so important. Where you're getting your decisions to move forward or do something. It's really important where that source is. And I couldn't agree more with what you just said. And sometimes those actionable steps that'll come from those conversations by praying through these things and letting your reality, as you call it, be reshaped.
Yep.
Or you can call it the reframe, right? Is, sometimes those actions could be really small. They don't have to be, really anything really extraordinary. It can be simple things like letters and phone calls, like we talked about, sharing stories.
Yeah.
And not a lesson necessarily, but just sharing a story. You know what? This is the way it's been between us, and I can remember, and just be honest. Sometimes you got to give space to people.
Yep.
And sometimes you have to prepare your heart, because to open that door does open it for uncomfortable things to be said and they have to address.
Yep.
So, but healing begins with steady, and sometimes you're doing these small steps toward that. It's got to be consistent. It doesn't necessarily happen in a moment. It could be a period of time. Yeah. Maybe a period of years to see that reconciliation work itself out.
Yep.
And that's okay too.
There's a Jason Upton song that I really like. It's like all about forgiveness, but he has this one line in it. He like does his thing where like he goes from like singing to kind of like talking.
He totally does that.
Yeah. And he says forgiveness is like he's like comparing it to like a garden situation. So he's like, forgiveness is like a big power tiller that breaks up the like foul hard ground and makes room for like new seeds to be planted. And I was like, that's like really good imagery. Like that's what forgiveness does, is it breaks up like the hard-heartedness and the like brokenness, and then creates new ground to be worked.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. That's really good. So, I think that's really good. I think that we should maybe end right there, talking about that. The hope really is that taking that first step of vulnerability, offering the olive branch, being forgiving, being the first to apologize, being the first to make that move, is the rototiller. Yeah, stirring up the fallow ground.
Yep. And then he says right after that, he says that we don't forgive because people deserve it. We forgive so we can see again.
Right.
And it's true that like the unforgiveness is what blinds us.
Right. And and forgiveness doesn't mean that what was done necessarily is okay.
Right. It doesn't.
Yep. it's sometimes more for the individual offering the forgiveness. It's also for them to release, and get that burden off our hearts, and not have to carry things we're never meant to carry.
Yep.
And the consequences of that mean there's new pathways, new doorways, new opportunities for not only the relationships, but then the next generation. Think of maybe grandkids get to watch the healing happen. What does that teach them?
Right.
When they see that happen, it can change their lives as well.
Yep.
And bring people back together. And that's what it's all about. And, so we want to say here today that even if you find yourself in a really tough situation where you feel like there's no way we could ever build any kind of lasting, just take a pause and really, maybe for the first time in a long time, pray about that. And maybe offer yourself the opportunity to see something different for your family. There is hope. There is ways out of where you are. It doesn't have to remain this way forever.
Yep.
Just take that first step. So thank you so much for tuning in today. We hope that you and your families had a great holiday season, or a great Thanksgiving, and have a great holiday season. And if this message resonated with you at all, leave a comment for us. Tell us other topics you'd like us to cover. And if you haven't subscribed, again, please hit that subscribe button. We'd love to see you every Monday. And thanks for being here today.